It's time for On Point with Julian Phillips.
Darkness of night and the moon shining bright. There's a set going strong, a lot of things going on. The man of the hour has an air of great power. The dudes have envied him for so long. Superfly. And I'm talking about that Superfly that was on Pence's head for over 2 minutes at the debate the other night with Kamala Harris. Look, welcome to On Point. But I got to tell you, that was the star of the show. That fly, and somebody sent something. Liz Black, my executive producer, sent a cartoon of a fly on Pence's head with a Biden-Harris poster. Hilarious. We're not going to spend too much time on this debate, but I want to bring in Eric Ham, my other Superfly character, best-selling author and political analyst, to talk about last night's debate. Look, I'm not going to spend too much time with this, Eric, because we got a lot of other things I want to cover here in the short period of time that we have. But the bottom line is, to me, the fly was a star. I mean, I know it's funny, but the fly, that was my man. I'm telling you, darkness of night and the moon shining bright.
I'm using that.
And that was Pence's head. That moon, boy, that was shining bright, brother. I'm telling you, Let's get into it real quick. I have two other things I want to talk about real quick, and then we're out of here. Number one, look, I don't think there are any winners and losers in this debate. None of them really answered many of Sarah Page's questions. Your thoughts?
Julian, the first thing about vice presidential debates is first do no harm. And neither candidate did any harm to their principles or to their campaigns and candidacy. The race is left unchanged. Still, Trump has a massive gaping hole that he somehow has to figure out a way to climb out of. And that's going to be very difficult when we've got less than 30 days and a president who is now infected with a deadly virus, which limits his ability to get out on the campaign trail. So still, the task is daunting. The polling is showing that the race is beginning to move and break Biden's way. And now today, both the former vice president and his running mate, Kamala Harris, are going to be in the state of Arizona. So they are being very aggressive, making a play for some of these states that traditionally do not go Democrats' way.
Look, I just wish, though, that Harris, I know she had to play it close to the vest. We're still dealing with a black woman, a woman and black, so she couldn't come off as the angry prosecutor or, too hard on him. But I wish she would have fought back, though, when he talked about this whole issue of this pandemic, Trump closed the borders. He didn't close the borders. He put a restriction where thousands of Chinese still came in. And of course, most of us know that the pandemic really came through our eastern seaboards, New York and what have you. But no one seemed to say, look, you're lying. No, that's not the case. And she didn't do it either.
Well, you know what, Julian, watching the debate like you, it was pretty frustrating because and what you came, or at least what I came away with was, this was a candidate in Kamala Harris who essentially had two hands tied behind her back. She had an opponent in Mike Pence who was allowed to lie, distort facts, distort the record, talk over the moderator, talk over Kamala Harris, not abide by the rules of time. And she also had a moderator, someone who simply was unwilling to take her role as moderator seriously. So, there was a moment in the debate last night where Susan Page actually called Senator Harris Kamala. We're talking about a duly elected sitting U.S. senator who, by the way, also happens to serve on both the Intel and the Judiciary Committee.
Exactly.
Who, by the way, also served as the former Attorney General for the largest AG's office outside of the U.S. Department of Justice, and you're calling her Kamala? Yeah. So clearly, she was in a fight she was in a two-sided battle last night. And even though she had incoming fire from both sides, she could not do what you wanted, because if she had, she would have immediately come off as the angry black woman.
Right. And, Pence also didn't help himself either. He went over. He didn't interrupt Harris too much, but he did go over a lot. And of course, Page, as you said, did not do her job. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Vice President, but she really wasn't forceful enough. But maybe she was doing that because she too was a woman and didn't want to appear that she was forceful. I will say this though, she had some very, very good questions for both candidates, especially Pence. I thought that her questions were very insightful, very penetrating. So to that end, I think it was good. But once again, it's not going to move the needle either way. More important, though, moving on from that debate, the Trump factor. Of course, right after, he's calling Harris a monster. He's calling her communist. He says that he will not debate Biden if it's virtual because, that's not the way to go. Of course, he felt he won that debate. I mean, he is all over the place. I mean, what's going on with this man?
I think we're seeing a meltdown here. I think we're seeing, President Donald Trump is pulling ads from key states, Iowa, Ohio. We see he can't get on the campaign trail. One of the campaign is hemorrhaging money. His campaign manager is infected with the virus. And so he cannot use the benefits of the statecraft, to bolster his candidacy right now. And he's left basically, in a hole. And Joe Biden has the field to himself. I mean, we both saw that speech at Gettysburg just the other day. I mean, a very powerful speech. And what we're seeing here is we're seeing a campaign that in the closing moments of this candidacy, it's really hitting its stride. It's hitting all cylinders right now. And this is where you want, they have the wind at their back, and you see them now like just hitting all of their cylinders. They're competing in places, that you normally would not see a Democrat. I mean, look, the Biden campaign is spending $6 million on ads in Texas. In Texas. No Democrat has won Texas since Lyndon B. Johnson.
You're right.
It's been forever. I mean, so this race is moving away from Trump, and we know that he knows that, and so he's lashing out.
So here's a question. Trump says he doesn't want to debate if it's virtual, but you can bet your bottom dollar he's not going to run away from any opportunity to show his face in public against Biden. Look, but my thing is this. To me, it makes no sense for Biden to debate him anymore. He already has him by the tail. Why be greedy? Remember, like I mentioned, we were talking about the other day, Wheel of Fortune, where, somebody has $10,000 and they already know the answer to the puzzle, but they just want to spin it that one last time and then they lose all their money. Why take the chance? He doesn't need to debate him anymore.
Well, I will say this, Julian, if this is a virtual debate, that could not be more suited to Joe Biden because Trump likes to put on a show. That's why he likes to be out on the stump. That's why he likes to do those large rallies. And being physically in person at a debate, it allows him to be boisterous. It allows him to be over the top. It allows him to put on a show. If he is in a setting like you and I right now, where he has to debate, what that forces him to do is come down to eye level, and it forces him to directly and pointedly answer the question. Answer why you only paid $750 in taxes. Answer why more than 200,000 people are dead from this virus. Answer why you somehow managed to contract a deadly virus that for 6 months you have said is a hoax. Answer why you are the first president ever who, if you lose, you will leave with a net job loss. No president has done that for 50 years. These are questions he would have to answer in a setting like this. He can't speak over the moderating. He can't speak over Joe Biden. They can easily mute him. And
so here's the question. Well, do you think that he'll go if they keep this virtual and he still tests positive and he hasn't taken a COVID test, I think, in several days now, but if he tests positive or negative, do you still think he would go with a virtual debate? I mean, it certainly wouldn't bode him well.
It's not in his best interest. It's not in his best interest to do a virtual debate. I mean, it would be a colossal mistake on his team to put him in front of a camera to do a virtual debate. Because again, it forces him to answer questions. Trump is not a great debater. He's great at distraction, but if he's doing something like you and I right now virtually, it forces him to answer questions that he does not want to address. It would be a mistake.
Okay, let's move on for a second here. We'll see what happens. I mean, it's like not even day by day; it's minute by minute with this guy tweets the whole bit. Of course, Republicans have not made any response to accusations of communism, and of course, Harris being a monster. I think they're going to die. They're going to die on this hill with this president, as far as I can see. The polls right now, some national polls have him in double digits. But I want to focus on the battleground states. He's winning in most of the battleground states. Some are closer than others. What's your take on this?
No, that's right. In fact, we look at states like states in particular, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. Biden is actually leading very comfortably. And these polls in these particular states that Biden has to win, it's been very static. I mean, there just has been no movement one way or the other. You expected by now the race would really tighten, but we just haven't seen that. Where it will get interesting, I think, is in states like North Carolina, Ohio, Iowa, and Florida. Can Biden, step on the gas and put some distance between him and the president in those states? Or can Donald Trump figure out a way to move the needle to get back in this race? Right now, it just appears as though this thing could be slipping away from Trump, at least based on what we're seeing from the early voting, which has been massive.
Right. Anything in your mind? We mentioned in 2016 there was an October surprise. That was Comey coming out with his allegations or whatever against Hillary Clinton. Do you see anything now that could derail the Biden-Harris train at this point? I mean, what could possibly come out that could do that?
Well, we've already had, I think the biggest October surprise that we're going to see of this election cycle, and that's Trump testing positive for COVID. And already we saw earlier today or last night where he was on a Fox News interview by phone, and he went after his Secretary of State, his Attorney General. I mean, two of his most loyal lieutenants. So clearly what we're seeing here is the president desperately wants something, but he simply isn't getting it. In fact, he called for the arrest of Obama and Biden, saying they spied on his campaign. So I think if there's anything that is going to come from the Trump side, it's already been telegraphed. So it wouldn't necessarily be a surprise, meaning it's not going to shape the race at this late hour.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, a lot of twists and turns here. And, when you think you're surprised by Trump, he goes to another degree. I've never seen anything like this. But next week, I think it's October 15th, we are expecting a debate between the two. It remains to be seen. But between then and now, Eric Ham, in this world of politics, that's an eternity.
Absolutely. It is. And you never know what's going to happen with these two. I mean, again, we're still talking about a president who has a deadly virus. And so we don't know where he is in his prognosis. We don't know if he's out of the woods or not. And so we are all watching and waiting with bated breath.
To say the least. Very interesting indeed. Look, man, we'll be talking during the week, and we'll see what happens next week, debate or not. There'll be a lot to talk about, that's for sure. Eric, thanks for joining us.
All right, buddy.
Darkness of night and the moon shining bright. There's a set going strong, a lot of things going on. Well, it is dark. I look at the time that we're in now. We've made some light of the fly and stuff, but these are dark hours. But I do believe there's a moon, there's a sun, there's a God that's looking over us that will bring us out from this darkness into the light. A set going on. This is a serious set. This political atmosphere and this time, this is a set going on, going strong, and a lot of things going on. It's like a whirlwind. But you know something? We need to keep our focus. We need to be on point with where we need to go. And we need just to focus on the facts. We need to focus on COVID. Over 200,000 people that have died. We need to focus on not Trump so much, but the lies that he has put out there. Like he put a total ban on the Chinese, and that wasn't true. We need to focus on H1N1, where only 12,000 people died, but he's saying that was a total disaster. More lies, more lies, more lies. Not one who is going to acknowledge white supremacy, not denounce it, although he and Pence says that he has. He hasn't. We need to focus on those things. We also need to focus on Biden and Harris. No, they're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But we cannot go through 4 more years of this craziness and where this is going to take our country. So we need to focus on the things that are important. And one thing that Harris said during the debate at the end, vote, vote, vote. Now, on that note, I'm out. We'll see you next week.